What's up, guys? Today I wanted to talk to you guys about how I define each belt rank in Jiu-Jitsu. So first, before we get into it, what is the significance of the ranking system? So, I came from a wrestling tradition first. I did 4 years in high school. And, basically in wrestling, there is no ranking system. It's basically, can you beat this person or can they beat you, So, you could be going against someone who is completely new for your next match, or you could be going against the state champ. There were no skill discrepancies in who you would go against. It was just completely based on weight class. Like, that was it. That was the only defining boundary for the people that wrestled. So, I came from a very meritocratic mentality where it really only matters if you can win, if you can beat this other person, if you are better than them in the application of your skills, okay? That being said, I do think there is value in the Jiu-Jitsu belt ranking system, and I'll explain how I now view each rank and how I would promote my students according to each rank. So the first and the most important one is the white belt, right? The white belt means you came in, you've committed to learning this new martial art, and you are a beginner. So I don't give white belts out immediately. I give them out after 6 weeks, because I get a lot of people that sign up and they come for 1 or 2 classes and then they drop off the face of the earth and then I never see them again. So I make sure that I tell every person, look, commit to 6 weeks, you'll get your white belt, right? And then you'll officially be a student and you'll be working towards your next rank. So walking into a school and, making a commitment to come in and train at a regular schedule so that you can progress in this martial art, that's the biggest and most important step. So if you guys haven't started Jiu-Jitsu yet, I highly recommend it. There's tons of great schools out there in the United States. It's not like it was in the 90s, okay? Now you can find a good school in almost every city in the country. So I wish you guys luck. Now the second rank is the blue belt. So I define a blue belt as someone that can beat a stronger, more athletic, but unskilled opponent in basically every position. So there should be no position as a blue belt where you have no idea what to do, right? You should know how to escape all of the pins in at least one way. You should know a couple submissions that you can hit on people regularly, and you should have basic guard passing, basic wrestling, basic guard skills, okay? That's what I define as a blue belt. For me, blue belt typically takes about a year, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less based on the person. The soonest that I've ever promoted a blue belt is 7 months, but I absolutely had to. This particular person who may be watching this video, when they were a white belt, they were going even submissions with purple belts at about 5-6 months in. They just had a ton of athletic intuition and ability right off the bat. So, of course, I wasn't going to hold that person back in a meaningless way, But generally speaking, most people, it takes about a year, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. Now, the next rank is purple. Purple is the hardest rank, in my opinion, to transition into. So the transition from blue belt to purple belt, I believe to be the most difficult, because purple belt is the first belt of expertise. If you're a purple belt, you should have no holes in your defensive game. You should have a couple high-level offensive sequences that you can use to put me in danger or put a high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner that's a brown belt or a purple belt in danger. You may not necessarily be able to submit a black belt regularly, but you should be able to at least threaten them, okay? And it's a belt of expertise in the sense that I should trust you as a purple belt to be able to teach a beginner level class. I should trust you to be able to teach a 6-7 month curriculum and do so effectively. Obviously, probably not to the same effectiveness that I can, because I would know a lot more nuance and detail, but you should be able to do it with competence. So that's what I define a purple belt to be. Typically, from blue to purple, it takes a longer time, much longer time than from white to blue. I would say 2 to 4 years. For me, it was a little different because I came with my 4 years of wrestling. So I got my blue belt about a year and a couple months after I'd begun training, because I trained primarily at an MMA school and I wasn't belted there. And then from blue to purple, it was a little over a year, which is quite fast for blue to purple. Typically, it takes longer, but I sat at purple for 3 years before I got to brown. And now I've been brown for a little over 2 years, and hopefully I'll get my black belt this year. We'll see. But again, I'm someone who's been training, 5-6 days a week, twice a day, very often. The first 5 years of my jiu-jitsu career were like that. And then when I opened a school, I made some realizations about my training schedule and ways that I could achieve the same or better progression with less training time and more focus on teaching. So, I do things a little bit differently now, but the idea I'm trying to convey here is I've devoted a significant proportion of my time and effort towards improving in jiu-jitsu. So that's why, I've progressed a little bit faster than the average person, and why I'm probably going to get my black belt in a total amount of like 7.5 to 8 years after training instead of 10, which is typically the average. For most people, it takes 10. Now, from blue to purple, most of the time it takes 2 to 4. So this is why a lot of people quit at blue belt, is because normally you get your blue belt after a year, and sometimes you're sitting there multiple years of blue and you still haven't gotten your purple. It can be very dissuading for people. But, just like I've said in a previous video, guys, stay the course. You will get to significant plateaus at blue belt, probably some of the most significant plateaus in your jiu-jitsu progression. You just got to continue and you got to work through it, because I promise you, if you get to purple belt, you will be a black belt one day as long as you stay the course. Once you get to purple belt and you have that skill that a purple belt embodies, you also know the training methodology that allowed you to get there and improve, and you just need to continue to apply that same training methodology for your brown and black belt ranks, and you will get there. It's just a matter of time at that point and improving your timing and refining your skill sets. Now, brown. From purple to brown, typically it takes 2 to 4 years as well. I would say the biggest change from purple to brown is the ability to instruct at a high level, at least under my definition, the ability to instruct at a high level. So a purple belt should be able to run a beginner's class. A brown belt should be able to run an entire school and get people to become highly skilled in jiu-jitsu, okay? In terms of their offensive sequences, instead of just a couple, strong offensive pathways, they should have a complete system of offensive pathways that they can utilize from every position to funnel someone into victory, into a submission, okay? And obviously they should have 0 holes in their defense to a much greater degree than a purple belt even, right? They should be very difficult to submit. They should be very skilled in transition. But predominantly, in terms of their offensive sequences, they should be much more refined. They should have better timing than a purple belt, and they should have many more pathways to put somebody in danger than a purple belt does. Now, the final rank is black. Now, I know I'm speaking of the black belt rank, while myself, I'm not yet a black belt. However, based on the black belts that I've seen and based on where I believe my skill to be heading, the way I would define a black belt is not only someone who's of even higher skill than a brown belt in jiu-jitsu in terms of their ability to apply their jiu-jitsu, but also someone that can not only run a school, but teach someone else how to run a school and run a program and develop high-level competitors. So you're a leader as a black belt to an even greater degree than a brown belt would be. So from brown to black typically doesn't take that much time. Usually it takes about 2 years, which is actually right about where I'm at. Although we'll see, my instructor may make me wait another year. It's ultimately his decision. But usually from what I've seen from at least the other brown and black belts that I now know, it's about 2 years, from brown to black. And of course, if you take a hiatus, it's going to be longer. But if you're a brown belt, usually getting to black belt, it's just a matter of time. Again, even more so than a purple belt, you already know what's allowed you to get to where you are so far, and you just need to continue to apply that same methodology to continue to improve until black belt. Ultimately, guys, I think I have a pretty high standard with what each rank embodies, and I think it should be maintained culturally at every level of jiu-jitsu. So, other coaches have talked about this, but we want to preserve the meritocracy that's behind each rank, because the more that people are promoted based not on the application of skill, whether it be teaching ability or whether it be live rolling, which is the main way that people promote if they're promoting in a meritocratic sense. The more we get time-based promotions, or we get $500 belt testing fees and, all right, you paid it, here you go, here's your belt. The more we get stuff like that, the more it waters down the martial art. And as I've said in other videos, if you get a critical mass of McDojos that are part of your martial art, then that becomes the image of your martial art. And we don't want that to happen in Jiu-Jitsu. Now, ultimately, I don't think it will. I think there's so much development at the high levels, at the competitive levels of Jiu-Jitsu, that people are getting so much better, and they're really holding each other to a high standard because of it. I don't think it'll trend in that direction. But the other thing we ultimately need to do at a cultural level is just keep each other accountable. If you come from a school and you're a purple belt, and you go to a couple other schools and you're getting destroyed by the blue belts that are a part of their school, you may want to reconsider your rank. You may want to just be like, all right, look, clearly I don't think I'm a purple belt. I've been to several other schools and I can't even hang with their blue belts. I'm going to take this off and I'm going to give myself a blue belt and I'm going to work for my blue belt. And I think that's a very respectable thing to do. I know of 2 people that have done that they were purple belts and they came into a new school, a new system, and they were just getting demolished by everybody, and they were like, you know what, I don't feel like I earned this rank. I'm going to earn it the right way, and they replaced their rank with a blue belt. Now, you don't have to do that yourself. I'm just saying I think that's pretty honorable, and it shows a commitment to preserving the meritocracy of the martial art and making sure that your rank is legit, because you want a legit rank. And so as a coach, when I'm thinking of promoting people and when I talk to other coaches, the main thing that we discuss is the worst thing you can do for someone is give them a rank that they don't deserve yet. Give them a rank that they haven't earned yet, because that's an easy way to get them dissuaded and, make them feel like they aren't worthy of where they're supposed to be. I would much rather err on the side of waiting to promote to somebody where everyone's like, oh my gosh, finally they got their blue belt, or finally they got their purple belt. Like, this was ridiculous, right? Because I know that at that point, that person is going to know that they deserve their rank, and it's not going to affect their mentality and their training in the future. So I err on the side of really making sure that someone deserves their rank. And I have never, nor will I ever, promote someone that I don't feel has earned it, no matter how hard they try, right? Now, those that do try hard, they tend to be the ones that do eventually attain that level of skill and do get promoted. But if I want to be nice to someone and I promote someone that doesn't deserve it just to make them feel good, it immediately reduces the value of everybody else's rank when you do that. So you need to preserve the integrity of the ranking system by making sure that only people that have earned it are getting that next belt. So those are my thoughts, guys. If you disagreed or if you want to expand on something that I said, please be sure to leave a comment. If you like the video and the content that we produce, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you click the notification bell. That way you guys are notified. YouTube will notify you when we have new videos out there, or Rumble if you're on Rumble. I also have a Rumble channel. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.